Hello friends. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be sitting here in my house and starting a new vlog with you. So I am officially back from Italy, obviously. We got back technically 2 days ago, but it was at midnight. Oh hi. Hello. It was at midnight, so it feels like we've only really been back for 1 day. It is August 4th and I'm gonna work on a video of kind of just the vacation separately, so I'm not gonna really talk about it here, but I will just say that it was very fun, but the end of the vacation was quite dragged out and quite stressful, to be honest, because our connecting flights, like our flights were just messed up. So we had 3 flights total. We made it to the first one, but it was so delayed that it ended up making us miss our second flight, which was our international one from Frankfurt to the US. So the first flight made us miss that flight. And then we had to scour the entire Frankfurt airport for hours to try to figure out what to do and where to go to get it rebooked. It took hours, and the only reason we even ended up figuring it out was because so many other people on that flight would also miss their connecting because of the delay. We just kind of joined forces and figured it out. But we ended up having to stay the night in Frankfurt. The airline paid for like a hotel and stuff, but we ended up having to stay the night and had to go to a different flight the next day, which was already a bummer in itself. But next day comes, we get on it, great, but now that one's delayed and we missed the next connecting flight to get us to our final destination, the final airport. So then we had to get another flight, which luckily was at least the same day, but a few hours later, so we had to just kind of sit around and wait. But then we got home, so it took 2 rebookings and 2 new flights to get home. We pretty much got home exactly 24 hours after we were expected to, which wasn't that bad considering, because a lot of people that missed the flight in Frankfurt ended up having to be on like wait lists for other flights for like 4 to 5 days. So it could have been worse, but it was still kind of shitty nonetheless. But we made it. We're here. We're healthy. And better news, today I'm getting ready right now because I'm going to go get a tattoo, and I'm so excited. I've had this appointment for a few months now. And yeah, I'm excited. So we're gonna kind of do that. And this vlog is gonna really be kind of a mix of me resetting now that I'm home. I still have to unload all my luggage. My one is there now. Oh, speaking of luggage, Angelo's checked luggage is kind of lost right now. Working on that. So this is gonna be a mix of like kind of a reset. I'm gonna go get a tattoo. I'm also getting my hair done Saturday. So there's kind of a lot going on, but I'm excited to be back home, to get back in the swing of things. I don't know when my next video is going to go up. I don't know. I have to think if I can film something this weekend and have it by Tuesday, because this probably won't be up for at least another week because I want to get some like books read for this vlog. Obviously, the vacation one's going to take even longer, so hopefully I can think of something to film this weekend so I can have something going up this Tuesday. I actually did read a little bit during the vacation, not as much as I like obviously would have without the vacation, so I don't have like too much to say, but I'll talk about like the books that I read during vacation here, because yeah, I don't have much else to talk about right now, but I'll at least give you guys some of that. And then when I get back from my tattoo appointment, we're gonna pick out my next book. I kind of already have 2 in mind that I think I'm gonna read for this vlog because I've just been dying to read them. So I'm probably just gonna read some like anticipated reads for me because yeah, I'm just getting back in the swing of things and I want to enjoy my reads. But on the plane, I ended up reading, I started the Mindf series. I don't remember the author, but I'll put up a screenshot of the book. But it's technically, I think, 5 novellas, but when you buy it, they're bound up together on like Amazon. But I was reading them on the Kindle, and you download them all like separate. So I ended up reading the first 2. And it's pretty good. I didn't really know what it was. I've heard a lot of people talk about it and say how good it is. I just knew that there was definitely like spice involved. So it's pretty much about this woman who something horrible happened to her We don't really know what. We have an idea, but we don't have like details of anything. But something horrible happened to her in her small town, and she is pretty much seeking out these people that did this horrible thing to her and her friend, and taking out revenge and killing them. So she kind of has like this hit list, yada yada. In the very first one, she ends up meeting this guy at a cafe or like lunch or something, I don't remember now, and they kind of hit it off, and it turns out he's an FBI agent. So we have this like secret killer and this FBI agent, and they kind of start to form a relationship, and this FBI agent is unknowingly looking for her as the serial killer in these cases that he's doing, and he's doing other cases too. But yeah, so that's kind of like the gist of it, and that's all you really need to know. So like, we know she's a killer, so we're just kind of like watching their relationships form while she's debating like what's gonna happen between them, and while he's trying to find these serial killers he's looking for. So it flips back and forth between her POV and his POV. So it's kind of like killer, FBI agent, romance, mystery, dark, I don't know, that kind of deal. And it is spicy, but it's not like overly spicy. I actually am really enjoying it because I'm just so curious how everything's going to turn out and what this relationship's like, what's going to happen, because there's only so many outcomes. Is he going to solve it himself and figure out if she's the killer, and then is he gonna like hate her for it, arrest her for it, or is he gonna be like, okay, but like I actually do really have feelings for you, so like make it work? Or is she gonna be forced to like, I don't know, kill him? Like, who knows? There's so many ways that can go, so I'm so curious where it will go, and I am enjoying it. The writing's not like top notch, and it is quite cliche at times, but I think like it's somewhat self-aware of that. And you know, the main character Lana, she's quite, I don't want to say like immature, but like very, I don't know, they're very typecasted. Like, he's just very much what you think of with an FBI agent, and she's just very much this like smart aleck. I don't even know how to describe it, but they're very much their characters. And yeah, it's a little corny sometimes, but it's fun nonetheless. I'm enjoying it. It keeps me interested the whole time, so it was a good read on the plane. And also, I started reading Blood Mercy by Vera Roth, I think it is. I'm also enjoying that. I am reading that one with audiobooks, so I'm following along on my Kindle because it is available on KU. But I did end up getting the audiobook from Audible, which helped so much because the text and the writing style is very kind of historical feeling. It's not like William Shakespeare, but like it's historical-esque. It's happening in like 1595 or something like that. So the writing style matches that type of dialogue, if that makes sense. So it's quite flowery and just not like modern talking. So the audiobook is helping me a lot, and I recommend the audiobook. I think that the narrators do a great job. It has a female and a male narrator depending on what part of the story we're at, because we do flip back and forth between our main female character and our main male character. It's a slow burn romance, and it's a slow burn in every aspect of the way. It's slow burn plot, slow burn character development, slow burn relationship development. So it's a slow burn. It's descriptive, it's historical feeling, it's fantasy, so there's that. But it has to do with our main character, Cassia, who is like the illegitimate daughter of the king, and currently his only like child, because his other two legitimate children have since died. Or no, he has a son. Just kidding. He does have a son, and that's his like true heir, but he had a daughter, a legitimate daughter, who died. So there's that, which would have been Cassia's sister's like half-sister kind of situation. So she is treated very much like an illegitimate daughter, not treated very well, but she's like around, and he's just like, he's a dick of a king. So yeah. And then these Hesperians, they are this other, I guess, race of people, but they're vampires, and they are coming to Tenebra in order to kind of create this political alliance. I don't know, there's like political stuff going on between this like human race and this vampire race, And yeah, so a group of Hesperians come over, and because of that, Cassia crosses paths with a vampire named Leo, and there's like a relationship that forms between them. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I like the romance aspect, but also it does a lot with building up this plot and this political stuff that's going on, and Cassia's character development is really great as well. I'm almost done with it. I don't remember how far I am in it because it's not in front of me, but I think I'm like 70 to 75% of the way through it. So I think I only have about 2.5 hours or 3 hours left of the audiobook. I think it's like kind of like a 4, maybe a 4.5. I am really enjoying it. I'm curious where it's going to go. A lot can still happen in what's left of it. It's a pretty long book. On the Kindle at least, it's 654 pages. A lot can still happen. And it's a whole series, but I do think that the other books focus on other relationships, but I'm not sure actually. But I did already preemptively get the audiobook for the next book because yeah, I'm definitely going to carry on with this series, and I'm definitely going to do it with the audiobook because just the way that the text is written, I just grasp it better with somebody reading it to me and following along with it than me trying to read it on my own. I think that the story is really well balanced, going between this relationship and then talking about and building up this political stuff on the side, and then also it tackles themes of what these women are going through during this time, and I think it's going to start leading into character development with like female friendship, which I'm really excited about. I really like when books take that on, and reading about female friendships forming. Love that. And yeah, I think it's doing a really nice job. I do like the male love interest as well. He's not a 5 out of 5 for me, but I like him. He's sweet. And the vampire lore is very cool, and it's very linked to nature, and there's like this magic system, and these vampires aren't like these super evil beings that some of the humans fear and some of the lore in their world talks about them as, but they're very attached to nature. They actually don't drink blood from a human unless they're like willing, and they never like drain them of blood like fully. That's the type of vampire we're dealing with, so you know, because I'm sure people have different preferences for how vampires are portrayed, but that's how they are in this one. Very nice, calm, attached to nature, don't really want death because they tend to feel stuff around them, and yeah, and there's some cool magic and different abilities throughout the book as well. I'm gonna finish getting ready, and then we're gonna get a tattoo. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hi, what can I make it for you? Hi, can I get a medium cold brew with 1 mocha swirl, 1 caramel swirl, 5 cream, and an espresso shot? Thank you. Hi. Thank you so much. You too. All right, we are off to the tattoo shop. It's about a 45-minute drive. Alright folks, we have ourselves a new tattoo. Here it is. Beautiful, right? No, just kidding. I'll show you guys. So as far as pain goes, the numbing cream definitely helped, but I did not get enough numbing cream on my knee for where we ended up placing the stencil. So the knee was I mean, a little spicy because I definitely didn't get good numbing cream in it. And the numbing cream does wear off after a while. Ow, oh my god. Okay, but it definitely helps. Here it is. You can see, you can see the stencils from the other placements, which will go away eventually. Let me pull you out more. So here it is, just me standing like normal, I guess. Every time they tell you to stand like normal, I'm like, wait, how do I stand? I don't know. So I wanted to be able to see it from the front and like this side. So we ended up wrapping it around the knee a pretty decent amount. Yeah, see it right from the front of the knee. So yeah, I really like it. But I am now battling a raging headache that feels like it wants to turn itself into migraine, which I really don't want. So I'm gonna take some pills, some like ibuprofen. Hopefully that stops it in its tracks. And I'm gonna wash this guy off real quick. I forgot, I do this every time I get a tattoo. I forget to get this stuff before I get the tattoo. So on my way home, I stopped at Walgreens, got the good old gold antibacterial soap and the healing cream, not ointment. You want to use cream. The ointment kind of seals it up too much and doesn't let the tattoo breathe, the wound heal and breathe. So I always get the Eucerin cream. Okay, so it is Sunday, August 6th, and I have officially finished Blood Mercy. I think I said it was by Vera Roth before. It's Bella Roth. I was a letter off. It's by Bella Roth, and I also said that the series continues on where each book talks about different people, which is totally not correct. I don't know why I thought that, because the cover for the second book is so clearly also Leo and Cassia. So I don't know why I thought that, okay? Airplane brain, I guess. So I don't have much additional information on the book. I think I've said most of my thoughts, and I've kind of said what it's about, the vibe it's going for. And I will say at the end, because it was such a slow build-up, which I don't mind. I prefer a slow burn over it being too fast. I didn't mind the slow burn aspect to the book, but I will say once it got to the end where there was a lot of action going on, I was so still in that mindset of still just casually talking about the bushes and the details of everything else that I almost didn't appreciate the action that was happening, because the tone of it was just so relaxed up to that point for the most part, that by the time the action was happening and like really big dramatic political stuff was going on, it just, because of the slow tone to the whole book, I don't feel like the action created much of a punch for me in my personal reading experience. Nonetheless, I still really liked the book, and the overall tone of the book, I feel like it goes beyond just like a fantasy romance and takes on a few secondary themes, and I will most definitely be reading the second one. I think I'm gonna give this one a 4, and we're gonna switch gears, and I have picked out my next book. I was between this and another one, but this is a new release, so I'm just gonna go for it. I've been really excited, and I'm going to start Maeve Fly by CJ Lead. I have heard this compared to American Psycho, but our main character is a woman, so there's some really cool blurbs on the back. It says, a deliriously indecent feminist slasher, sexy and gory all at once. Maeve Fly is a feminist masterpiece. Lead presents us with a delicious anti-heroine. Keep an eye on this rising feminist voice. All of those are music to my ears. So we are dealing with a slasher with a female lead, and I'm all for it. I think it's going to be very character focused, kind of stream of consciousness, but I will let you guys know once I'm a little bit into it. So we're going to start that today. So yeah, I'm going to start reading this.
officially 135 pages into Maeve Fly at pretty much the exact halfway point of this book. So now that I've read a little bit, I'll give you guys a little bit of a summary. So Maeve Fly is actually the name of our main character, and she lives in Los Angeles with her grandmother, who was like an actress back in the day, so she's kind of like a nepo grandbaby. Our character also works in Disneyland, but she never says Disneyland, just talks about working in like the most magical place on earth, and she is a princess there, which is heavily insinuated to be Elsa, and she ended up making friends with her like partner who plays Anna, but her name is actually Kate in the book. Kind of just following Maeve Fly's thought process. It's very character driven. It's very stream of consciousness, that type of situation. Kate's brother Gideon ends up coming into town, and him and Maeve interact, and I don't know where that's gonna go. That's what I've got so far though. So we have this main character, Maeve Fly. She is a Disney princess. She also really likes Halloween, and she also has some other weird interests. I'm kind of at the point now where I think stuff's about to go down. So I have mixed feelings about this book right now. There's some things I like, but there's a lot of things that I don't not like, but that are just like either for me or just don't make sense to me. So I will say the character building in this book, because it's very character driven, and she is very much a morally gray character, but at the same time I feel like she's inconsistent. I don't know that I like the character development itself, apart from her personality, because I don't think you're necessarily supposed to really like her, but also some of her personality traits I feel like are kind of random. There was a lot of stuff early in the book that I felt was put in there more so for shock value. I feel like it didn't really add anything character-wise, and it hasn't, so far at least, circled back to mean anything or to link to anything or to even support her like character traits. Like, they just felt very random and misplaced and unnecessary. And she also talks a lot about books, and very specific books that she reads a lot. They just, I don't know what their point is yet, and I hope that it becomes more clear. I guess I just feel disingenuous right now. That might change, but she feels disingenuous right now. And I'm not convinced about her as a character. It might just be me. I don't know. I don't know if it's how she's written, how her inner thoughts are written out. I don't know what it is. I'm just not really connecting to the character, and not to say like I can't relate to her or whatever. Like I said, you're not really supposed to like this character. She's morally gray. She's kind of messed up. So I don't need to like be in love with her or want to be her to connect with a character, but I also need to feel like the character is realistic and that person could exist. And right now, like, just not everything's connecting, and she doesn't feel like a real person to me. I'm babbling, but so I'm just not fully convinced about the character. And she has this relationship with her grandmother, and she cares deeply for this woman, but everything with the grandmother so far that's happened on page is from the past. But her grandmother is like sick and at home, can't take care of herself. She has a nurse that comes every day, and there's been no direct on page happenings with the grandmother in present time. So I've just kind of thought that was weird. This is like the one person in the world that understands her, but she hasn't had any direct interactions with her grandmother on page. Anything that's been brought up about her grandmother was like her remembering something from the past and describing that. So I feel like it's a little bit weird that she's not directly interacting with her grandmother on page. It's like a minor thing, but I noticed that because that just goes alongside with, I'm not convinced of this character. You care so much about this woman. Why aren't we reading about you interacting with her today, like present day? What I do like about the book is we have had moments where Maeve kind of talks about how women, like female characters, if they're bad or antagonist or the villain, they're expected to have a why, like why they became a villain. We see them as having had been a victim previously, and that victimhood is kind of what created them to become, you know, a villain and go savage and whatever. And I do think that that's a really interesting conversation topic and a good point. It says here, men have always been permitted in fiction and in life to simply be what they are, no matter how dark or terrifying that might be. But with a woman, we expect an answer, a reason. But why would she do it? Why? I liked that. I marked it. I did tab that. I thought that that was a really cool line. I guess I will say I'm surprised that Maeve isn't just like you know, a very isolated loner type of character. She does have a best friend, Kate. She's with her grandmother in some capacity, and this Gideon character is coming into play, and so it's interesting that she has so many relationships, and we're exploring those relationships a lot more than I expected. I kind of expected way more of a loner type of character in that way. I feel like I sound like I'm saying a lot of negative stuff about this book, which I guess I kind of am, but I don't see it all as super, super negative. It's just a lot of stuff that's stood out to me so far. I am enjoying it. It's reading really fast. It is short, so I should be finishing it pretty soon, but I'm hoping it kicks it up a lot more in the second half. Right now it's coasting on like a 3, and I'm just kind of ready for way more character work to happen and more of the serial killer aspect to come to light, because so far what I've gotten has been pretty weak in my opinion. So yeah, I really can't tell what the motivations or really the tone is of this book right now, but I'm not hating it. I swear I'm not hating it. Like, it's fine. It's overall like fine written. It's a 3. It's a fine right now. I just hope it does way more in this last half. So I am about to finally get my hair done, so I wanted to pop on really quick. So I just have it back right now, but it's just dark and boring. So we're gonna go for either like a copper or an orange. We're gonna have to kind of see how my hair takes to bleach, because my hair notoriously does not lighten easily at all. I actually did 2 treatments of like pigment extractor, like color removal, because we did do a black demi before I left for vacation, but my hair is naturally super dark brown, so it did actually lighten it, but you can't really tell. But hopefully that helped a little bit, so it'll take to the bleach a little bit easier. We shall see. I'm also going to cut it just a little bit. I got layers last time, and I think that that was a mistake. I think with the way my hair is, it tends to kind of flip at the bottom, and I think when I have layers, it looks stupid. I don't know though, we'll see. It's starting to rain very hard. I'm a little bit early, so I'm gonna read my book while I wait for her to get home, because my sister-in-law is just doing my hair at her house. She is a licensed hairstylist, but she didn't have any openings in the salon, so she's just doing it at her house. Yeah, I'm still in the middle of Maeve Fly, a little bit more deeper into it. My only update that I guess I could say is it is a little bit more sexually charged than I expected. So there's that. I don't know how I feel about it yet. We shall see. And yeah, that's it so far. Okay, I'll catch up with you guys later. So I've officially finished Maeve Fly by CJ Lead. So let's talk about it. I am going to try my hardest to not ramble and babble about this book, but I do have quite a bit of thoughts, and I've been thinking about them for a few days now because I did finish this 2 days ago. So I've been thinking about it for 2 days, and I just like don't know how to explain myself. So I feel like I'm going to repeat myself a lot and probably over explain, and I'm really gonna try not to, but I apologize now. So right off the bat, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. I think what was most detrimental for this book, and 3 is fine. It was a fine book. There were some elements that I did really like, but I just found myself disliking a little bit more than liking. This book had so much potential, and just a few little tweaks would have made it a really, really great book for me personally. Now, I will say, I feel like I might have gone in with the wrong expectations. I think that this book had a lot of elements to it, and none of those elements were leaned into enough. So there's kind of a lot going on. We have this element that, this like character trait that she works at Disney and that she likes Halloween, and then she has this best friend Kate, and then she meets Kate's brother Gideon, and there is a side plot kind of romance, which I didn't expect, which would have been okay, but again, if it were more leaned into. So hold on, before I get ahead of myself. And then there's an element of this bar that she goes to, and then there's this side element with this doll, and then there's this element with her grandma, and then there's this element of her killing people. So there's so many elements, and none of them were leaned into enough, in my opinion. The story would have worked 2 ways for me. If right off the gate she's unhinged and she's already, you know, killing people, and it just progressively gets worse and worse until like a big climactic moment where she like completely snaps and like just shit hits the fan. That would have worked for me. Or we started with a relatively normal person, a relatively functional, logical person, I'll say, and slowly, progressively, she's starting to lose touch with reality and starting to have illogical and intrusive thoughts, and slowly goes into this, and then this big climactic moment, that's when she snaps and she starts killing people and blah, 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 blah. So the problem is we had like those two merged together. The book tried to be a little bit of both of those scenarios, where there was some things we were introduced to with Maeve in the beginning of the story, in like the first half, where I feel like they were meant to make us believe that she was this unhinged character, but then she like does some weird stuff. And then for most of the remaining first half of the book, she's pretty like normal. I just like wasn't convinced that she was as different and as cold and as like dissociated or isolated from society as she wanted to convince us she was. I think overall the progression of the story didn't make sense. The pacing was weird. It wasn't well balanced. All of these elements felt very isolated from one another, and they didn't really merge well together. It's like we would talk about this element, forget about it for a while, talk about a different element, and then forget about that one, and then talk about the original element for a while. Just like nothing felt cohesive, and it just felt very jumbled and very piece. There was so much going on that I feel like everything became surface level and nothing got very deep. There was a lot of telling and not showing, which after so many times of that was starting to get under my skin. I do wish we got a better idea of her why, because while some of the point of the book is that there is no why for her, there should be a little bit. And by that I mean the people she's choosing to kill, there definitely is a reason why she chooses them, but we just didn't get any of that introspective kind of illogical justification that I like with an unhinged character. There's definitely a why there, but it wasn't explored. We got like a little bit of it, but just like not enough. I will say the torture scenes, because it's not simply a serial killer, there's like torture scenes, and they're not like exponentially long, but they are quite brutal. So there's that. I don't know how I feel about them, but just so you know, it's definitely less just straight up killing and more on the torture side. I know I'm saying kind of a lot of negative things about this book, but there were some elements that I really did like. The whole Disney aspect, while I'm not like a huge Disney fan, so it didn't like do the most for me, I did like how the author tied in her being Elsa and kind of tying that into our character. There was a little bit of social commentary-esque exploration. Again, she didn't lean into it very much, but there's a little bit there. I don't know. I think overall, just some rearrangement of the story and, you know, cutting out certain elements and diving deeper into other elements. That's what I would have preferred from the story. I did like how overall it ended. I feel like it ended the only way it really should have. So I liked that, but yeah, just kind of the journey getting there was a little bit too jumbled. So moving on from that, I did already start my next book, and I'm going to be starting The Gloom Between Stars by Piper C.J. You would have seen that I stopped at the bookstore on the way to my sister's to pick this up. Because it came out while I was on vacation. It came out July 31st or something like that. So I picked it up as soon as I could. I wanted to pick up Barnes & Noble because they have a Barnes & Noble exclusive and it has some extra content in the back. So I don't know if it's this. It might be this part. So I wanted to get the Barnes & Noble exclusive. And I'm so excited, but also scared and also sad and also nervous to start this book. I mean, I did already start it, but I'm only like 22 pages in because I have just been absolutely loving the series. So this is the third book in the series. I don't know what the series name is, if it has a separate name, but the first book is The Night and Its Moon by Piper C.J. I freaking just love this series. I think it is so beautiful. It has so many of fantasy tropes that I love. It has bisexual relationships. It has just so much. I actually really love the writing. The writing is slightly rocky in the first one, I will admit, but it gets so good, and this book has made me feel every emotion possible. I have cried, I have laughed, I have squealed. So if a book can make me do all of those, it has a special place in my heart. So I am so excited to read this one, but it is the third and final, so I'm like sad that the story is going to be over. I'm also nervous that I'm not going to connect with this one somehow compared to the other ones, but yeah, it's just like that nervous thing, like, is the story going to stay as strong for me as it has been? And if it does, I'm also going to be sad when it ends. But can I just say, first page, I'm already highlighting. I love Piper C.J.'s writing. It has developed so well over these 3 books. It is just beautiful, and I love it. And what I really love about these books, here's the map. What I love most about these books is she always makes a playlist. She also includes a pronunciation guide, which should be a thing in every fantasy book. Obviously, I can't say too much because it's the third book in a series, but please, 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 please read The Night and Its Moon. Please do it. I need people to talk about this book with. The premise of the first book is we are following our 2 main characters, Amaris and Nox. They meet in an orphanage, which is kind of shady, and this orphanage actually sells these kids off to the highest bidder. Kids get sold off to farmers, kids get sold off to brothels, what have you. Amaris is this very unique, fae-touched being, and she has very white, stark hair, violet eyes. One day, a madam comes to the orphanage and decides to buy Amaris at a very high price, so she gets sold to the madam. But when the madam comes to collect Amaris, Amaris actually ends up escaping, and Nox takes her place and gets shipped off to the brothel instead. The story then becomes about these 2 girls that are just very connected, trying to find their way back to each other and the paths that they both are on and the journeys that they're on separately as women. And it has fantastic character growth and character arcs. I love all the characters. There's so many fun plot lines, so many fun fantasy tropes that I just love, and it's just so good. And I've been really loving it, and I'm super excited. So yes, I am reading The Gloom Between Stars now. That's it right now. Oh, actually, that's not it right now. So my hair's orange. It did not come out the way I wanted it to, really at all. So do not fret. It looked pretty good in that footage I included in the mirror, but the front is way more neon than I wanted. I feel like I look like Chucky. It's fine though, because she's going to try to fix it. So this is what my hair looks like. And yeah, I look like Chucky. Either the killer doll or the Rugrat, whichever, pick whichever. I look like Chucky. It is a little bit patchy because my ends did not lighten that much, but that's okay because I actually want like the color that's in the back to be in the front, and then for this back to be more of a cinnamon brown. So hopefully it goes correctly, because yeah, this front is just way too neon for me. It's very Halloween neon, which would have been fine if, like, I don't know, I just feel like these two colors side by side don't complement each other. It looks very different too depending on what light I'm in, which I'm not a fan of because I want it to look how I want it to look in every light all the time. So yeah, so not great, not horrible, but it's okay. Hopefully it fixes. I'm gonna shower and hopefully get some of this orange out so it'll make it easier on Wednesday. Hopefully it'll pick up more color then. And yeah, then I'm gonna just lay in my bed and read for the rest of the night. And that's the plans. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Hi friends, so a couple updates. My hair did get fixed. It's still a little bit brighter orange up front than I initially wanted, but I feel like it's already faded a little bit, which I like. And it is much closer to what I originally wanted, and I like it way better. So that's the hair. Reading update. I am a little bit more than halfway through The Gloom Between Stars on page 282. So I've read that much. It is 501 pages. So, thoughts? I'm loving it so much. I did one reading update on my Goodreads, which is always linked in the description box, but I did one reading update on like page 90. I was like, I'm not even 100 pages in, and so much has happened, so much like plot, and it's so good. I love this series so much. Just everything about it I love. The characters, the character development and character journeys are just so good. So good. There's some like found family aspects to this book that I really like. There is multiple kind of relationships going on, multiple relationship dynamics going on that I really enjoy too. This book is definitely the most spicy of the books so far in the series, but it is like so well balanced. It's the perfect amount of spice for me. I'm not a huge smut person. I do like it, but I really need it to be very specific type of spice. It really needs to be slow burn for me, building up, lots of tension, and just really well balanced. So to compare, for me, books like Akamath, like A Court of Mist and Fury, that's like the perfect amount of spice balance to me. Whereas like A Court of Silver Flames, that was a little bit too heavy on the spice for me. To me, spice just can be boring if it's too much. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I don't need to keep reading about this, but where it's necessary and where it just meets the balance, it hits so good. So the spice balance in this book is amazing. The spice itself is amazing. I really like the way that the spice in this book is written. I guess a lot of people would probably say it's a little bit more like romantic type of spice. Like, it's not very, you know, raunchy. It's very delicate, but at the same time, it's not delicate. Like, some of the scenes get pretty rough, but it's just not aggressive writing of it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I hope it does. The spice is just very good. I just love the magic of this world, the creatures of this world. We are getting even more political stuff going on too, but it's very light political. It's not like light political because it's a huge plot point of this book is like political aspects, but it doesn't go in like super detail. It's just like, it's nearly perfect. I don't even, like, it's perfect. I think this book is perfect. I think that this series is so good. Again, the only gripe I have with the series total so far has been that the first book, the first maybe 25-30% of the book, the writing was a little bit shaky and slightly inconsistent, and it just that book needed a better editor. But book 2, 5 stars. This is feeling like a 5-star. And speaking of this being the third book, I thought that this was the final book, but I'm reading it and new conflicts have come up that definitely would need a lot of time to, you know, come to a resolution for. There's new characters that are being introduced and new portions of this world that might collide, like of this continent. So a lot of new things are coming to light. So I was like, is this not the last book? And it's not the last book. There's going to be a 4th book, and that will be the last book. And I think it comes out January 15th. Let me double check just so I'm giving you guys the right information. I'm like out of breath because I can't stop just blabbering about this book right now. So I'm like out of breath. I'm sorry. Talking about books is my cardio, apparently. Okay, yes. So January 16th, 2024 is when The Dawn and Its Light comes out. And that is going to be the final book. And I'm just like so excited. So that's 5 months from now when I'm reading it. So 5 months is gonna go by slow, but it's gonna be so worth it. Just this book is so good. Please, please, somebody else read this series so I can gush over it with everybody. I'm having a blast. I am having an absolute blast. So we're getting to the halfway point and I feel like stuff is building up. Like, it's been pretty chill and we haven't had chill moments in this series pretty much at all. So it's been pretty chill. So I think some stuff's about to really go down. So moving on from that, I am currently going to go shopping. I'm going to go to a plaza that's down the street from me, and they have a Home Goods, a TJ Maxx, and Five Below. And I'm going to go to those stores, maybe Ulta. They have a bunch of other stores. They have Target, Kohl's. Like, this plaza's popping. It's like the plaza was made for me and my shopping tastes, but I'm going to just stick to the 3 for now. So it is actually a few days later, but I realized I didn't show you guys what I bought, so I want to do that. Despite me showing you exclusively the Halloween stuff, I didn't actually buy any Halloween stuff, like no true Halloween decor, but I got a bunch of random stuff instead. But some of the stuff was out because of Halloween. I guess the candles I got are kind of Halloween-y, but anyways, let me just show you what I got. So from HomeGoods, I picked up 2 candles. This one I really like. It's got kind of like vintage apothecary feel to it. It's very brown, black, sepia kind of style. It is pumpkin spice scented and it's amazing. I like my pumpkin spice to be like spicier versus like a sweet pumpkin scent, and this one is like perfect. I've already been burning it. It's delicious. I love it. Then I also picked up another candle. It is this black one with this purple iridescent witch on it. This one smells amazing too. So this is called Wicked Apple. So obviously it's kind of like an apple fall scent. Then they had a ton of travel mugs, so I picked up a couple. I got this white one with the skull and like floral flower sketch style design on it. And I really like the size of it. I don't even know what size it is. It is 18 ounces. I don't usually like the ones with handles, but I need more travel mugs and I liked this one, so I got this one. And then I also got this one, which is kind of like a weirder shape, but it's kind of matte black and shiny black, and these shiny parts are these skull faces. This one is 17 ounces, and again, it has a handle, and I don't typically get the handles, but same deal. I needed more travel mugs, so I got these. This one's super random, but I got this organizer because my makeup area where I get ready is such a mess, so I'm hoping that having like an organizer will help me alleviate that and keep it a little bit tidier. And then they had so many good pillows. I really was debating on getting the snake pillow that I showed. That's kind of like gray and silver, but it just like would not match anything in my house. So I was looking harder through the pillows and I ended up finding this one, which I think is so pretty and very similar because it has all that beading work done, but it has much more of a kind of cottage core, like cottage witch type of vibe, if you know what I mean. And I think it's so cute, and I thought it'd be really cute for like a reading nook. Once I can finally make myself a reading nook, I'll probably pretty much decorate it based on this pillow because I couldn't help myself and I wanted to get this pillow, so I got it. Lastly, I did realize I did really want to get a blanket, but they didn't really have any nice like Halloween ones or spooky ones that I liked, but I did end up finding this checkered one. And while it's white and black and doesn't necessarily match anything, like if this black were instead like a mustard yellow or a pink or a green, it would like match that pillow perfectly. I just could not resist, and I just bought this anyway, even though it's not like the optimal color scheme, because one, I'm really digging checkered pattern at the moment, but two, the way this blanket feels, it's like cashmere. I don't know, it feels so nice and so lovely, but none of the other blankets in the store felt the way that this one does. And I just like couldn't resist, and I'm like, I don't care that it doesn't match anything perfectly. I forgot to say I got the candles from HomeGoods and everything else came from TJ Maxx. I didn't end up going to any other store. I ran out of time. We were doing something with the family that evening, so yeah, I had to limit it to those 2 stores, but still got some fun stuff and spent some money. So moving on from that, I have now officially finished The Gloom Between Stars by Piper CJ. So honestly, I think I pretty much said it all already. I love it. I really want more people to read it, the series in general. I will say this one in particular is probably the least action-packed out of all of them so far, but I didn't mind. It's very action-packed in the beginning and very action-packed at the end. And in the middle, we just get so much character work, so much found family, so much relationship dynamic, and you just really, really connect to these characters. And I'm just so enthralled in this world. I'm so connected to these characters. I love every single character in this book. I mean, like the ones you're supposed to. I love every single character in this book. They all are just so individualized, so dimensional, so well-rounded. Pretty much this book just kind of shifts its focus a lot to characters, and while there's a lot of great plot going on, there's definitely a decent portion of this book where we're just kind of chilling and vibing with our characters for a while. So initially, because of that, I was going to give it like a 4.5 because I'm like, it didn't like have as much going on, but no, I'm giving it a 5. I loved it. There's nothing I can think of that I would have changed in this book. I think the writing has evolved very well with these books and is getting better and better. This one did end up leaving off on a bit of a cliffhanger. I think on Piper CJ's Instagram, she has like a link where you can actually read the first chapter to the next book. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to wait until I have the whole book, but you can. So that is going to be everything for this vlog. I've already edited a large portion of this vlog, and it's going to probably be over an hour, just about. So if you have sat here and watched this whole video, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you spending some of your time with me while I get a tattoo, get my hair done, talk about books, read books, go shopping, yada yada. If you made it all the way to this point, leave me a, let's do butterfly emojis since my mug has a butterfly on it. Leave me a butterfly emoji down below so that I know. Let me know what you're reading and how it's going. I would love to know. I am probably going to have my fall TBR posted next because I'm going to, right now, go pick out some of my books and see what I'm feeling for the fall. Now that I have my pumpkin spice candle. It was very stormy today. I'm feeling the fall vibes. I want to start getting that together. So make sure you're subscribed. Turn on the bell notification so you know when that goes up. Like the video, all the fun YouTube things that help your girl out. And that's it. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.